for coming out tonight. It's been a while since we've come together for a community meeting. A lot has been happening that we'd like you to know about. This meeting is being hosted by several community groups, including Shingle Springs Community Alliance, San Stino, and Stop Tilden Park. We want to remind you that we are not experts in land use. However, we are working diligently to provide you with the best information we have on how to protect our quality of life in Shingle Springs. Before we get started, we need to make a disclaimer. The Discovery Hills Church is a wonderful asset to our community. Please note that Discovery Hills Church is not affiliated with the Shingle Springs Community Alliance, San Stino, and Stop Tilden Park organizations. Let's take a look at our topics for our meeting. All right, we're going to start off with some successes and what we've learned while accomplishing those successes. We're going to talk about some rezoned parcels that happened during the zoning ordinance update, our community plan status, San Stino's Mill Creek project status, tribal development project status, the land use initiatives that will be on the June 2016 ballot, and then we're going to let you know how you can stay engaged for our future successes. When the public said that the San Stino project notification was not sufficient, we worked to get better notification on the board's agenda. After almost 3 years of participating in meetings to make suggestions and comments, we now have an improved public notification policy for development projects. Some of those improvements include mail notices up to 1 mile distance from the project site. There now will be signage on site for projects. And the larger projects will be required to have public outreach meetings. A recent example, some of you may have received mail notices regarding the Shiver Ranch tentative map changes, and that was one of the improvements in that policy. Many of you here in this room sent emails and attended meetings to make sure that we got this important policy for our county. So I do want to say thank you. Your participation really did matter. Another success, when the public said that the Town Center Apartments project in El Dorado Hills was not properly following CEQA, and CEQA is the California Environmental Quality Act, citizens engaged in the process and made comments along every step of the way. The concern was that if the county was allowed to ignore proper environmental process on this project and increase allowed density to 55 units per acre, they could very well continue to ignore the environmental process and mitigation on future projects and set a precedent for urban-type high-density development throughout the county. When the Board of Supervisors approved the project, despite the flawed environmental process, that left citizens no choice but to sue the county to overturn the decision. On February 5th, 2016, a judge ruled that the county did indeed violate the environmental process, and the project has been overturned. Yeah, good job. Next slide. And here's one of my favorites. One of the largest successes over the past 2 years was gathering enough signatures to put land use initiatives on the ballot for El Dorado County voters. It is almost unheard of to qualify initiatives using 100% community volunteers. Once again, public participation really makes a difference. We will give you more information about these initiatives later in this presentation. So, what have we learned through all of this? One thing we have learned over the past few years is that the county has a process for everything it does. And if there isn't a process, it will create one. So it is our job as citizens to engage in the process so that we can hold the county accountable. We must participate and make comments along the way, because if we can show during the process that the environmental analysis is flawed, we can file a lawsuit. Another thing we have learned is that the county does not always act on behalf of the public. The best example we have of this is when we requested that the county reduce the size of the community region line on Shingle Springs. The Board of Supervisors did not have the will to reduce or remove it. Remember, a community region line is an urban limit line that marks where the county plans to put the highest intensity of self-sustaining, compact, urban-type development or suburban-type development within the county. We repeatedly tried over the past 2, going on 3 years, to get the county to work with us to remove or reduce the urban limit line on Shingle Springs because it does not match our rural quality of life. Many meetings were held to discuss the community region lines, yet the will of the Board of Supervisors was to kick it down the road for the next general plan update rather than take care of it sooner. So when the county throws up a roadblock, we must find another path to protect our quality of life and never give up. So, there have been some parcels in Shingle Springs that were rezoned. One of the processes that the county has been working on for the past 4 years was the general plan and zoning ordinance updates. On December 15th, 2015, 4 of 5 of the Board of Supervisors voted to approve those updates. The updates were so huge and overwhelming that it was very difficult for the public to understand the impacts of the project. I mean, think about it. There are 94,000 assessed parcels in our county, and 37,000 of those were rezoned. It was nearly impossible to dig through the list of 37,000 parcels to figure out which of the rezones were significant. And the county only did what was required to notify the public by publishing a notice in the local newspaper and sending that same notice to the county email list. They did not send notices to property owners or adjacent property owners like they do for development projects. So your parcel or your neighbor's parcel could have been rezoned without your knowledge. Because the general plan update and zoning ordinance update had flawed environmental analysis and lacked mitigation for their negative impacts, Rural Communities United has taken the lead to sue the county and hold it accountable for violating environmental law. We have 2 very specific examples of how Shingle Springs is negatively impacted by those rezones. The first example is here at the corners of Ponderosa Road and Highway 50. There was no reason to rezone most of those parcels because they already were a commercial zoning district and a commercial land use. However, most of the parcels were rezoned to commercial regional, which creates the potential to merge the parcels together to develop into large warehouse-type stores. The problem is that the parcels surrounding this area are residential, and that is not compatible with large regional commercial development. Plus, the increased traffic, light and noise pollution that accompany a large warehouse store would increase congestion at this intersection. And we all know how bad the traffic congestion is already there. The second example we have is a 60-acre parcel along Mother Lode Drive near Greenstone Road. This parcel is adjacent to residential homes. Let me show it there, it's the one in gray. The Board of Supervisors rezoned the parcel from 5-acre residential to research and development, which is not compatible with the neighboring homes. The board's actions eliminated that neighborhood's right to due process by rezoning the parcel without proper assessment as required in General Plan Policy 2253. These 2 rezone examples are cause for concern because of the potential for incompatible uses next door to them. Our only options to address these potential incompatibilities are to, number 1, support the lawsuit to overturn the general plan and zoning ordinance updates, and number 2, move forward with our community plan for Shingle Springs. And that brings us to our next topic of community planning. On February 9th, 2016, the Board of Supervisors voted to keep community planning on their list of projects for the long-range planning staff. However, because they want to get a better idea of how many communities want to move forward with a plan, they will hold a public workshop sometime in late March or early April. We will definitely want to show up, and I mean we, all of us, want to be there so that workshop, because our community has already invested a lot of time into community planning, and we have a sense of urgency because of the potential impacts of those rezones. And most importantly, having a clear expectation for development provides clarity for both developers and community members. So here's a summary of the meetings that we've held so far. Our first community meeting, and I think a lot of you were there, was in January 2013. We collected signatures on petitions to keep Shingle Springs rural, to remove the community region line, and support a community plan. Our second community meeting was in March of 2013. It was a workshop on responding to the San Stino notice of preparation for its environmental impact report. That meeting generated hundreds of written comments submitted to the county and to the developer. Our third community meeting was in June of 2013. It was here, and we had stations set up for people to vote on photos of building designs so that we could develop design standards for Shingle Springs. The rural designs were the overwhelming choice, and the results of that survey are posted on our website. Our fourth community meeting was in November of 2013. The community had been asking us to take political action, so we surveyed the people that showed up that day, and the number one choice was to move forward with a community plan that included reducing the community region line on Shingle Springs. The second choice of the survey that day was to move forward with an initiative. The top design choices from the June 2013 survey are shown here. These will be used as the foundation for drafting design standards for new commercial and multifamily buildings in Shingle Springs. This is just a start, and there will be plenty more opportunities for input along the way. One thing that was brought to our attention during our community meetings in 2013 was the potential to bury the overhead utility lines along Mother Lowe Drive. That idea was well received by the community because of its potential to improve public health and safety as well as aesthetics along Mother Lowe Drive. After all of those community meetings, we packaged up all of the information that we had collected and presented it to the Board of Supervisors on January 14th, 2014. The purpose of presenting to the board was to show them all of our community outreach and hard work and to get their buy-in and assistance in moving forward. This up here is the actual text from our presentation, where we told the board what we anticipated would be our path to success. It seemed pretty straightforward, and we got positive feedback from the supervisors. However, since the county did not have a formal process for creating community plans, they spent the remainder of 2014 hiring consultants to create a community plan guide instead of working on our community plan. We were promised that all of our hard work would not be lost with the new process in the guide. So, after all of that work over the past several years, what have we learned about community plans? The county will take responsibility for outreach to notify the community prior to release of the first draft. This takes the responsibility off of us if people later come forward and say they weren't notified. It is better to address development projects like San Stino's Mill Creek project separately from the community plan. Why? Because projects have an environmental process that we will want to participate in to prepare for a potential lawsuit. We have seen over and over that the Board of Supervisors will not support reducing the community region line on Shingle Springs, and therefore they will not support a community plan that includes reducing the community region. They have promised us that they will consider reducing our community region line in the next general plan review, which actually starts very soon. So we want to make sure that we engage in that process when it starts. And you all know that I will be sending you an email about it. The board has already stated that it will support design standards in community plans. We have been advised that it may be possible to address some of the issues created by the rezones with design standards and planned development overlays, which are appropriate components of a community plan. In order to be successful, it is a good strategy to create a community plan in phases. Some communities are looking at creating very complex community plans that involve environmental analysis and will take years. We have been advised that we will be more successful by starting with design standards in phase 1, get that completed and get it approved by the Board of Supervisors, and then take a look in a year or so to see if we would like to add more components to the plan. So that is where we are now with the community plan. Be sure to watch your email for a notice for the upcoming workshop. And now Frank will give you an update on the San Stino's Mill Creek project. Frank.
Goes back to the days of doing karaoke, I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Frank Burden. I'm with the No San Stino organization. I'd like to state that we're not anti-growth. People see the no in front of a development and think that we're totally against growth. That's further from the truth. Rather, we're for responsible growth. We are not no growth. So what is San Stino's proposed Mill Creek development and how will it affect Shingle Springs? The reason we call Mill Creek San Stino's Mill Creek is because the earlier development was called San Stino. It's been rebranded by the developer, San Stino LLC, due to the negative publicity and the strong opposition it received earlier on. I'm supposing he's hoping that doesn't occur this time. San Stino's Mill Creek development is bordered along French Creek Road, Motherload Drive, and partially bordered by Old Frenchtown Road. 3 individual parcels totaling 645 acres make up the development. These properties are owned by the Schweibers, the Zweck, and the White families. They're longtime Shingle Spring residents. The development is primarily located on the Schreiber Ranch property. Here you see an outline of where the development is. You see where French Creek is, Old Frenchtown Road, and Motherload and Shingle Springs Drive, so that gives you an idea of its location. The developer does not own these parcels. They are waiting on approval of the development and entitlement. What would really be wonderful, and I mean wonderful, would be to see some or all of these parcels become a regional park through a community service district or land conservancy rather than a large development. The development consists of 632 homes to be built in 2 phases. Lot sizes range in 1/5 of an acre to 2.32 acres. There will be 2 entrance/exit points, one on French Creek Road, the other on Motherload aligned to Buckeye. The developer also plans to extend Shingle Springs Drive to Motherload. As far as traffic controls, there will be stoplights on the Motherload Buckeye intersection and stop signs 600 feet south of the stop signs at French Creek and Lorraine. Now, due to the Oak Woodland Conservation Ordinance, the developer plans to execute the development in 2 phases. Phase 1 complies with the adherence to the tree canopy retention and replacement standards, which is called Option A. Phase 2 will not begin until Option B is available, which is a contribution to the county's Integrated Natural Resources Plan Conservation Fund, meaning money goes into a fund to replant oak trees that are cut down during development, and these oak trees are planted off-site of the development. So here you have the proposed Phase 1 and Phase 2 build-out of the development. So here's the location for the stops. Here's for the lights, lighted intersection. Here's the stop signs just south of Lorraine. And then here you see where Shingle Springs Drive with my shaking hand punches through to Motherload. Now, one of the concerns, at least a concern that I have, is is this is Montessori, here's Buckeye, here's where the road gets punched through, and then you have an intersection here. I'm assuming there's going to be stop signs here. So this is a very busy area in the mornings when parents are dropping their children off to Montessori or to Buckeye. Add to that people exiting this development and coming through here, and most people are in a hurry to get onto work, and so as busy as it is, you know, you get distracted with everything going around. Safety is an issue. This is phase 1 of the development. Again, phase 2 will await Plan B of the Oak Woodlands Conservation Ordinance. So these are the areas here that will be awaiting that. So, per the Mill Creek project narrative filed with the El Dorado County regarding Oak Woodlands. And it says, no development will occur in phase 2 until option B is adopted by the county. The applicant could then submit the phase 2 tentative map and development plan applications for approval, providing both are found consistent with the new regulations. Further, it says, any differences that might be proposed between the previous conceptual approvals and the submitted phase 2 tentative map and development plan applications will be subject to further review by the county in compliance with Chapter 16.24 of the El Dorado County Subdivisions Ordinance and Section 130.14.070 is the zoning ordinance. Essentially what this means is that the density of the housing could change with Plan B phase of the development. If the developer decides to add more houses to this development in the Plan B phase, he can do that. He would have to go back through the entire application process, but he could do that. So if you all remember, the original San Stino development was planned for 1,141 homes. Excuse me, 1,041 homes. So how does this affect traffic in Shingle Springs? Well, the national average of cars per person, per household is 2 cars. So you have 632 homes times 2 equals 1,264 additional cars on the road. And the average amount of car trips per day per household is 10. So you have 632 times 10 equals 6,320 additional car trips per day on our roads. We have traffic gridlock at the Shingle Springs Ponderosa overpass. I think you all are pretty aware of what that looks like in the morning when school's in session. North Shingle congested the overpass, South Shingle congested the overpass, Ponderosa congested the overpass, Highway 50 off-ramps, on-ramps congested the overpass. In addition, traffic will back up on Motherlode due to the new stop signs, and traffic will back up, due to the stoplights, and traffic will back up on French Creek due to the stop signs. And as traffic back up, motorists will have to wait at stop signs and signals, and most motorists have a tendency to speed because it may be late destination. So, again, this kind of shows all the streets. Here's Shingle Springs Drive as it punches through. And that due to this and this development coming out here, life for people that live on Shingle Springs Drive is going to change drastically. Adding on top of what's going over here with the Rancheria's plans.
All the way to El Dorado.
Yeah.
Are they going to take over the house that's there?
I don't know. You know, we're going to be taking questions at the end. So if you could hold that, that'd be great. So right now the development requires a general plan amendment. The general plan amendment application for the Shiver property asks to change the current agricultural exclusive and low density residential designations to medium density residential. This table represents the amount of lots and the average size lot. So you have 225 lots with an average size of 1/3 of an acre, with a small lot as 1/5 of an acre. There are 161 lots with an average size of a little over 1/3 of an acre, with a smaller lot as 1/4 of an acre. There's 126 lots with an average size of just a little under half an acre, with the smallest a lot as 1/3 of an acre. There are 93 lots with an average size of 7/10 of an acre, with a small as a little under half an acre, and then 27 lots with an average of 1.27 acres, with as small as 1 acre, totaling 632. Now, approximately 1.6 million cubic yards of grain will occur on this site. 6,500 cubic yards of soil will be moved per day. A lot of dust and a lot of noise. As part of the Mill Creek development, a community farm is planned between Buckeye Road and Motherlode Drive, which the developer feels will bring a rural character to the development and to Shingle Springs. You don't want to grow your carrots there? A community farm will not mitigate traffic, noise, pollution, light pollution, or the social impact to a quiet rural lifestyle. A community farm is a carrot for the county development community to convince them there's a benefit from the development. You can place lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, or you can wrap up a dead fish in wrapping paper, call it change, and after 8 days it still stinks. Take your pick. There is the community farm as you see it. This red dot here represents a trail that leads out of the development. It goes across Motherlode and continues on to Buckeye so that people can take their children hand in hand, cross Motherlode, which is a 50-mile-an-hour drag strip, and go over and visit the farm. Alright, so one thing you should know, and I don't recall this being in the original San Stino proposed development, that now this states new wells may be installed within open space lots I, J, or O in support of irrigation and associated facilities needs for uses proposed within these lots. So if you're on property now and you have a well and you're concerned about your water table, you have even more reason to be concerned. Now again, note that this says may be installed. It doesn't mean it will be, but there is that possibility. So what's next? So due to our hard work and perseverance, the county is now required to notify residents within a half mile of this proposed development and up to a mile depending on the type of notification. The notification used to be 500 feet from the development. A notice of preparation, an NOP, add an E to the end of that, and it's NOPE, will be released soon. The NOP defines the scope of the environmental impact report, which is the EIR, and we'll send an email notices regarding the next step in the process and how to go about filling out the NOP. So while down in size from San Stino's original 1,041 homes, we still feel this is too large a project for Shingle Springs. The light pollution, the noise pollution, the increased traffic will still occur with this size development. I don't know about you, I don't know how long you've been here in Shingle Springs, but I see less and less of the stars at night due to the amount of light pollution that we're getting. Greenstone Estates, a local community, was created with a rural lifestyle in mind. Why not here in place of San Stino's Mill Creek? It is more appropriate for that type of property and for Shingle Springs. So, should the development be allowed as proposed? Well, the general plan allows for low-density housing. The developer wants the general plan amended to a medium-density residential with lots of small, as 1/5 of an acre. Shingle Springs is a rural community, and it is. Let's retain the rural lifestyle. Keep the general plan as is and develop the property using the current zoning of RE5 and RE10. The narrows in Shingle Springs cannot sustain this additional traffic. There's another development called Tilden Park, which we're not discussing tonight because the last time we had a meeting there's been no change. There are maps on the wall over there, and the Tilden Park development is the very last one. That's located right near the Ponderosa overpass, which will have a very large impact on traffic there. There's a lot of commercial activity in that development. So in reality, based on what we're seeing here, possibility of Tilden Park, what's going on with the casino, Shingle Springs is under siege. It truly is. We need your help. Donate your time and donate some dollars. For example, the approximate cost to put on this meeting tonight is about $600. Help us by posting signs on your property, informing neighbors of the development. Help pass out flyers, help paint signs. Talk to friends and neighbors, get involved. It's surprising that a lot of people still don't even know about what's going on here in Shingle Springs, but you do. Let your friends know. Thank you very much. We'll talk about Rancheria.
Thanks, Frank. Tim Costello with Shingle Springs Community Alliance. Go ahead. So I'm going to talk just for a few minutes about commercial development that's being proposed by the tribe. Here's a map showing land purchases that the tribe has made. I count about 23 parcels. They extend north up here to Green Valley Road, and then south down here. This is a gun range motocross parcel, I believe, and then this is a proposed gas station site and a large commercial development that I'll talk about in a moment. The parcels that are in red here and up here, those the red color depicts trust land. So trust land is land that's gone through the Fee to Trust application process with the federal government, Bureau of Indian Affairs. It's a process by which tribes can transfer land ownership from a fee status, like you or I, purchasing property, to one in which the land is held in trust by the federal government on behalf of the tribe. So certain criteria must be met, and then the transfer is eventually approved by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. It's essentially a rubber stamp. Once in trust status, the land falls under tribal jurisdiction and is no longer subject to our local or state taxes or regulations. As a result, our local land use regulations and policies no longer apply to the land. Now, there may be an opportunity for some federal involvement, and we don't know quite yet, and that's something we're looking into. The parcel slated for the gas station development in red at the bottom of the slide here, it's located along the west side of Shingle Springs Drive, just north of us here in the church, on the other side of the railroad tracks. And you notice when I drove here earlier, there's a sign posted there now that shows the gas station. Okay. So this is a rough sketch I pulled off the application. There's an application on the county's website. The tribe submitted the application to access, or submitted an application to access Shingle Springs Drive and acquire water and sewer services for the gas station development at the southwest corner of Highway 15, Shingle Springs Drive. So the gas station is phase one of a proposed two-phase or multi-phase commercial development. The parcel covers 34 acres. Phase one of the development will consist of a gas station, and that's shown here at the very top. This little triangle, that's the gas station site. That's the overall 34-acre site. Gas station, as proposed, is going to have 6 pump islands, a car wash that's going to operate. The gas station and the car wash will operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's a convenience store with liquor sales. It's going to be built, again, at the north end there, adjacent to the highway. Phase 2 of the development has only been referenced conceptually, but has included, there's reference to 1 or 2 hotels, a convention center possibly, a large retail development possibly. The project requires water and sewer services from EID. So EID is going to have to pull the services up Shingle Springs Drive here to service the development. EID plans to provide sufficient water and sewer capacity to serve the entire development at this time, not just the gas station. So when they pull the utilities up, they want to have capacity for the overall development. Here's a slide taken from the tribe's website. It shows a depiction of the architecture and the layout of the gas station. So our concerns, at least my concerns, associated with the project include impacts to nearby residential neighbors, there's houses right across the street, significantly increased traffic and noise, since it's going to be operating 24 hours, light pollution, potential increase in crime and loitering, damage to the rural nature of the area, especially the well-being of the school kids and the kids here at the church. The loss of state and county tax revenue and unfair competition to existing businesses that are burdened with paying taxes, such as gas or fuel taxes and property taxes. Okay. So here's a parcel map. Here's the overall commercial development. Here's the gas station parcel, Highway 50, Buckeye in here. So I've highlighted in pink the 3 proposed driveway locations. Here's the driveway location that's going to service the gas station, and then just conceptually there's 2 more driveways to serve the rest of the commercial development. The driveways are significant because they require an encroachment permit from the county. That in turn triggers a CEQA review. A CEQA review is an environmental impact review that provides for a 30-day public comment period. But in this case, only for impacts associated with the encroachment onto a county road. Things like traffic, air quality, water quality, and noise, for example, but it's specific just for the encroachment on the street, not to the gas station itself. The county is the lead agency for the CEQA analysis, and they're wrapping up the draft now. I spoke with planning staff last week and this week, and they indicated that the CEQA review will go up for public comment, quote, sooner rather than later. I would expect in the next few weeks. Shingle Springs Community Alliance will send an email when the public notice period begins so you can provide a comment if you wish. So be sure, if you're not already on our email list, you can sign up in the back to get on the list. So there'll be 1 driveway for the gas station. The other driveway locations are conceptual, like I said, to accommodate the future development. Those are going to require a separate CEQA review. So when the next phase is proposed for the commercial development, there'll be another round of environmental review. EID is providing water and sewer services to the gas station and the future commercial development. And EID is using the county lead CEQA review for their environmental review as well. According to the county staff I spoke with, it's going to be a mitigated neg deck, which I think means that there will be no significant impacts once it's mitigated. So for example, if the analysis indicates it needs to be road improvements or traffic improvements, once those are made, the conclusion is there's no significant environmental impact, I suppose. We don't know yet what those traffic improvements may be, so we'll just have to wait for the opportunity to comment. Okay, next slide. So this is a design drawing I pulled off of the county planning website again. And this shows a couple things. It shows the layout of the gas station. So the pump islands are here, there's a convenience store and the car wash. So up here, at the very northern end, near the closest to the freeway, is going to be a sign. And there's going to be a sign over here down near the driveway to get into the place. And in the legend here, I know you can't read that, but this sign is depicted as freeway, high-rise, multi-tenant center sign. So I take that to be like one of those big monument signs, probably, like next to the freeway you see down in Folsom. This one's called out in the legend as fuel pricing monument sign, so you see how much the gas costs. I don't know, but I would expect both of these signs to be lit. It doesn't say that though, so we'll just see. So in summary, the gas station project is moving forward quickly. We have an opportunity to provide comment on the CEQA analysis regarding the county's issuance of the encroachment permit. So again, we'll let you know when that goes out for public comment. We'll have 30 days to comment. And that's what we know about that. So next up, Sue Taylor. Sue's going to talk about the upcoming community-backed measures that are going to be in the ballot this June.
Thanks, Tim. As you can see, your Shingle Springs board team has been very active since the last Shingle Springs Town Hall meeting back on November 21st, 2013. At that November meeting, a survey was taken, and like Lori stated, you wanted to continue to follow through with a community plan for Shingle Springs and adjust your community region line. If you were not successful with getting support from the Board of Supervisors, you chose to move forward with an initiative. The Board of Supervisors was not supportive of removing the community region line, so you took to the streets to gather signatures on petitions. The community of Shingle Springs was amazing and played a key role in getting enough signatures to qualify 3 initiatives for the ballot. Our first initiative landed on the November 2014 ballot, while the other 2 initiatives were bumped out to the June 2016 election. We feel that that has turned out to be a blessing. There was times when we would be at debates about these initiatives and our opposition would be on the other side of the podium, so we get to know each other. And after we got we were really minimized. No one even expected us to go anywhere with our volunteers. And when we got enough signatures, he actually texted me and said, it's pretty amazing and almost unheard of in politics to qualify a measure without paid walkers. Kudos. So that's actually pretty proud of that. The large developers felt very threatened by our potential success and spent over $1 million to create a campaign of confusion. Unfortunately, with little funding for a counter-campaign, our Measure O was defeated. The developers spent a record amount of money in that campaign. So here we are in 2016, and the yellow and purple initiatives are now Measures E and G. It's really hard when you have a 20-word title they gave us, and we just had purple petitions, so we were always calling them the yellow and purple and green. But anyway, unfortunately, County Council recently, on Tuesday, wrote vague and misleading ballot questions that do not reflect the character and purpose of our measures. Our only recourse we have for them to fix the language for the ballot questions is to file a lawsuit against the county, which was filed this morning, by the way. And what I told the Board of Supervisors, that it is really sad that we have to sue our own county to get them to do the right thing. So I'm going to give you a little history on Measure Y. To prevent traffic congestion, El Dorado County voters approved the original Measure Y in 1998 with 61% of the vote. From 1998 to 2008, Measure Y worked to prevent traffic gridlock and required developers to fully fund the required roads. In 2008, Measure Y was amended by the Board of Supervisors and then extended 10 years with 72% of the vote. However, unknown by most of the public, language was changed in the 08 measure, which weakened its purpose. So what does Measure E actually do? Measure E restores most of the original 1998 El Dorado County Measure Y so that the board cannot use a 4/5 vote to allow gridlock. From 98 to 08, in 98 the only changes that could be made was with the voters. When they changed it in 08, they allowed for a 4/5 vote of the board, so we're taking that back out. Roads necessary to prevent level of service F, which is gridlock, for new development must be fully completed prior to any project approval. Right now what they can do is, if your road that's going to help your congestion is on the papers at the county, which is called the Capital Improvement Plan, then you can go ahead with your project, even though it may not be funded. And so what this does is says the road actually has to be there, or a way to be implemented before your project can be approved. Local county tax revenue, local county tax, cannot offset traffic impacts of new development. It requires voter approval before allowing future infrastructure financing districts. Those are mainly bonding districts that the state of California is now allowing to, they're actually going to start encouraging these since they took down the redevelopment agencies. Number 5 requires the road funds to remain in the road zone where they're collected. So if there's mitigation money that's created in Shingle Springs, they can't use that money to build the connector road in Missouri Flat or the freeway infrastructure things in El Dorado Hills. It has to stay in the area where it's acquired. So this is the other measure, Measure G. In 2005, El Dorado County put a measure on the ballot to approve the 2004 general plan that was previously approved by the Board of Supervisors, then it was challenged by referendum. We were promised this new plan would control growth, protect agriculture, limit traffic, protect open space, limit the amount of apartments, protect jobs, encourage healthy economic growth, and preserve the rural quality of life. Soon after adoption, the county started amending, ignoring, and reinterpreting those policies promised as protections. After finding that the board was not going to implement these policies while still moving forward with massive developments, grassroots community groups, including Shingle Springs Community Alliance, moved forward to gather signatures to go to ballot, and which this one became Measure G on Tuesday. So what does Measure G actually do? It's been a long day, sorry. Measure G. It directs the Board of Supervisors to look at land use changes based on compatibility rather than favoritism, which provides predictability and security to landowners. Basically, there's a matrix chart that says if your land is, say, residential, that it's not compatible with industrial. So when someone goes to make a land use change, they look at the chart and make sure ahead of time that that's going to be compatible with the surrounding community. And that's done in a lot of different jurisdictions. It also restores the agricultural buffers to prevent encroachment by development. It restores the mixed-use density from 20 units per acre back to the 10 units per acre as was originally approved by voters in 2004. It requires the county to implement the water supply and demand management plan, which they have yet to do, which was also required in the 2004 general plan. So implementing these protective policies will protect our historic downtowns, agriculture, water, and scenic resources. So your yes vote on Measure E will hold developers accountable to pay for new roads necessary to prevent gridlock. The Board of Supervisors cannot approve projects based on hypothetical roads that might be built sometime in the future. This will slow down or even stop projects like Marble Valley, Lime Rock Valley, San Stino, Central El Dorado Hills, and other potential high-density urban-type development. The Board of Supervisors can no longer shift the cost of new development onto the back of the taxpayers. Your yes vote on Measure G restores agricultural buffers and forces the county to implement existing general plan policies that protect the county's historical, cultural, water, and recreational resources. This includes creating community plans to protect the unique character of each individual community in the county. These initiatives will improve economic development in the county by protecting our rural commerce and small businesses. So what can you do to help? We always need help. Sign up and be part of the campaign committee. Spread the word with neighbors and friends. Make your own yard sign. Shingle Springs did a great job. It was really fun watching all the handcrafted signs when initially you were challenging the San Stino project. Don't be fooled by slick mailers and expensive TV commercials. There's no doubt that the developers are going to once again spend a lot of money to stop these measures. They have already started a phone campaign. So these were some of the things that went out when Measure O was on the ballot. And everything that could ever happen that would be horrible to our county, they shared that that was going to happen. These are really nice, slick mailers, and these are just a few of them that I got at my house. Everybody worked really hard to get these measures on the ballot. We need one last push to get the word out now. Before the vote, because the vote by mail ballots will be in the mailboxes starting on May 9th for these initiatives. So I want to thank you. And one last thing, we have a hard time getting out to the media. the paper, the stations, there's so many things going on in this county that people don't know about, and it's really hard to get it into the press. So if you want to invite us to come to a meeting in your home, or to share some of the information, or just get the websites to where all this information is. The initiatives are actually printed online that you can look and read them and find out for yourself what they're actually saying. So I want to thank you, and here's Susan to wrap up the presentation.
Okay, so I'm just going to wrap it up real quick here. First, I want to start off by saying thank you for coming out tonight and staying engaged and helping with the fight to keep Shingle Springs rural. And also, I want to remind everyone, please turn in your surveys before you leave. That way we know if there's areas that you might be able to help with, as well as any comments that you may have. And then also, very importantly, we have donation cans. We have one up here, we have a couple back there. We're selling very beautiful bumper stickers for you to take home tonight. And these donations are very important because that's what helps us so that we can do meetings like this and help bring, communicate with, you, our community. And lastly, we're going to open it up to questions. And just please keep in mind, we are not experts, and so if you do ask us something that we don't know, we'll do the best we can to get back to you. Okay. Let's go ahead and open it up.
Hang on, we have mics.
Our presentation was so good. You guys know everything. We can just go home, right? Ah! Okay, we're bringing mics around. Oh, Frank's going around?
Take it off to go get a reservation.
I'm not sure if any of us knows the answer to this. It just occurred to me when Frank was talking about the grading for San Stino. But a lot of us are aware that the serpentine rock here can generate the asbestos fibers. And I'm wondering if anyone knows if any of that has been identified on that